Welcome to our next clip on charting your own course. The idea of charting your own course came out of a conversation that I was having around the benefit of best practice. A few years into our business, I started to adopt best practices, believing that this would be good for my business. We did things like adopt annual performance reviews. We started attending award conferences. We started to push our sales teams on targets, etc. And all of these things were in aid of being able to build a more successful business. And then in a conversation with a leadership consultant, I came to a very interesting conclusion with their help. And that was this: that the idea of chasing best practice isn't nearly as useful as understanding what it is that you need and what the right solutions are. In other words, charting your own course. So often we surround ourselves with consultants who tell us what the best practices are, and so we mold to these new best practices because we've been told by the experts that this is the way forward. But the experts are simply adopting best practice. And the problem with best practice is it makes us look like and feel like and seem like everybody else. Best practice, by its nature, is everybody in your industry deciding that this is the best way to do something, which means that adopting it puts you exactly the same as all of your competitors. And so adopting best practice isn't necessarily a very good business move. However, what we need to be thinking about rather is interrogating what it is that we're hoping to achieve in business. And if we can interrogate that to a degree that we look to that to see it being something that could benefit from a best practice scenario, then let's apply the best practice. However, in our case, we applied annual reviews because they were best practice. We didn't even know what the problem is that we were trying to solve. The crazy thing is that year was our worst year financially that we had ever faced up until that point, because these annual performance reviews pushed so much anxiety inside a small team, and the process was so difficult for people to do that they just weren't working. And then around that same time, we started to see people like Accenture and Deloitte and all of these bigger companies and EY start to take their annual performance reviews and chuck them out the window. And so we then went back and said, well, what is it that we wanted these reviews to be? And we realized that there were two things. One was an opportunity to talk salaries and discuss the future of each individual, but then the other one was also to create clarity. And so we chucked out the best practice of annual performance reviews, and we rather went with a mentorship model that would keep our people constantly up to date with what the expectations were of the business and how we believed they were doing. In attending award ceremonies, we realized that we were spending so much money on something that we didn't really understand its purpose for. And I remember thinking that it was predominantly based because of a PR exercise. And as a PR exercise, it was an incredibly expensive exercise. And then we suddenly realized that through a conversation with one of the CEOs of an award ceremony, that the power of an awards process wasn't so much because the process was about a PR move. It was more because if you push people inside creative industries to win awards, you get more out of them. That you attract better talent because you're an award-winning agency. And so the mindset shift that took place for us was that we now attend award ceremonies and we now enter award ceremonies to drive excellence within our business, not to drive growth and acquisition and marketing opportunities. That is potentially a nice side issue, but the primary thing that we drive now is as a way to be able to inspire and drive excitement around excellence within our business. And it's been a much better exercise. So we dropped annual performance reviews, but we kept the best practice of awards, but our focus was so much different. Where we spent the money from came from different places, how much we spent in it was different, and our focus for why we have them in the first place changed. And so the challenge is to chart our own course, to understand the problems that we're facing and to figure out the best route forward instead of simply adopting the practices that everybody else adopts. As a startup or as a business competing in a very competitive environment, one of the biggest challenges we have is standing out amongst the crowd. And so adopting best practice, it pushes us to look the same as everybody else. Standing out like a sore thumb, in many cases, can be a very good marketing and business opportunity. And so rather than just adopt best practice because that's what we've been told good business looks like, let's rather push harder, chart our own course, understand the changes that we're looking to make, and find the right solutions that help us to stand out.